Coming up on FYI, where does our rubbish actually go? Why are pools popping up in school playgrounds? And the last elephant released from a South African zoo. On FYI, we like to cover the stories that matter to you. And something that we know a lot of you guys care about is plastic pollution. So, to stop things like plastic and other waste damaging our environment, lots of us recycle, right? Well, you might be shocked to hear that according to a recent study, 1 in 5 British people don't recycle at all. So why should we all be doing our bit to recycle? And what actually happens to our rubbish? Scarlett's got more info.
Have you ever wondered what happens when you throw away a plastic bottle? Not there. Here, into your recycling bin. But what happens next? Well, it might end up somewhere like this.
I'm here at Bywater's recycling facility in London.
All types of waste are dealt with here, and 140,000 tonnes of that is recycled.
We've been invited to take a look at how they do it.
So all the recycling comes in on our big bin vehicles, and then it goes through a whole big process to make sure it gets recycled.
As you can see, there's loads of different pieces of machinery here, and each of those play a crucial part in recycling at this facility.
The recycling starts off by being shaken apart and put on a conveyor belt. Next, some clever machines are able to separate the different items. These ones are called polishing screens. They send paper and card one way, whilst the more bulky items like metals and plastics drop down to be sent another.
We think we're doing so much at home by separating the different materials, but here you just see how much more actually has to be done.
Yeah, we sort through it even further to make sure that item can be recycled properly.
Here's a rubbish fact for you.
275,000 tonnes of plastic are used in the UK each year. When plastic is thrown away and not recycled, it ends up in rubbish tips called landfill. It can take hundreds or even thousands of years to break down, and discarded plastic can also make its way into the environment, potentially harming wildlife and humans, polluting our oceans too.
So how much plastic is recycled here at your facility?
So every year we recycle around 78 million plastic bottles.
What's more, 96% of all the rubbish that comes here is turned back into a new product for us to use. And the coolest thing happens to aluminium cans. Once they're recycled, they have loads of uses, including being used to make space rockets that go to the International Space Station. Although it is possible to separate recycling in facilities like these, it saves energy if we can sort it first. But lots of people still get confused about the different bins. We got in touch with the new government, who say they're going to be looking at the whole area of packaging and simpler recycling. So, how can we recycle better? Number 1, make sure anything you put in your recycling bin is clean, empty and dry. 2, have a system. Keep a recycling bag, box or bin next to your rubbish bin as a reminder for everyone in your house to recycle. And number 3, if you aren't sure what you can or can't recycle, look it up on your local council's website.
It's amazing to see that nothing from this facility goes to landfill, but it'd be so great if we could reuse things more in the future instead of throwing them away.
Thanks, Scarlett. Now, the upcoming US presidential election has been all over the news here in the UK. So, what is it all about? Well, every 4 years, people in the USA vote for who they want to be their president. The election is dominated by the 2 main political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrat candidate is the current Vice President Kamala Harris, and the Republican candidate is the former President Donald Trump. The two have very different views on major issues like climate change, crime and immigration. And because the United States is one of the most powerful countries on the planet, whoever's voted in as president will affect the world. As election day gets closer, there's been a lot of fake news to watch out for. So when we heard about this next story, we weren't sure if it was true or not. So we did some digging. Singer Taylor Swift recently posted on her social media page that she is going to vote for Kamala Harris in the presidential elections. Afterwards, posts online popped up claiming that because the singer showed support for Harris, she had lost millions of followers on social media and had to cancel some of her performances on her world tour because ticket sales had dropped. The posts had been seen and shared thousands of times, but are they fake news or fact? We'll let you know later in the show. Recently, an elephant called Charlie has been making the headlines. He's the last elephant in South Africa's National Zoo to be released back into the wild after 40 years in captivity. We've been following his story. Charlie the elephant was born in Zimbabwe, Africa. When he was 2 years old, he was captured and taken to a circus in South Africa. Since 2001, he's lived here in the country's National Zoo, first with other elephants, but for the last 4 years, he's been completely alone.
He lost his partners at the zoo. He became to be lonely elephant, solitary, alone. And I think the zoo was doing all what's possible in their hand to improve, but I think it was not enough.
Over the years, animal welfare groups have been campaigning for Charlie to be released back into the wild, and expert vets were called in to give their assessment.
He didn't care about anything. He was not enjoying the food, he was not enjoying being there. It was just, he was like an animal, an elephant without a future.
After years of discussions, the South African government recently took the groundbreaking decision to allow Charlie to leave the zoo and go to a much bigger enclosure in the wildlife reserve, where he will eventually be reintegrated back into the wild. And so, the huge challenge of moving a 5-ton elephant began. It took weeks of careful planning, training Charlie to get used to a specially built crate that was used to transport him to the reserve. And finally, the moment of release.
It was such an incredible feeling to see him walking outside, in the beginning with very careful steps, exploring everything around. Now here the situation is totally different. He starts to be really wild, to discover every day new things in his surrounding, to touch for the first time the African savanna. It's something incredible for him.
As animals in the wild are becoming increasingly endangered, zoos say that their work is important for conserving our amazing wildlife. But some animal welfare groups disagree. Will Travers, the president of the Born Free Foundation, believes no big mammals like elephants should ever be kept in zoos.
I often think about what life is like for some of those big animals that live in tiny enclosures in zoos, sometimes hundreds, thousands of times smaller than the habitats that they would inhabit in the wild. Elephants, giraffe, big cats, dolphins. Just because we can lock up animals in captivity for life, for our education, so-called, or our entertainment, does that make it right? I think it's time for us all to reset our relationship with wildlife and look to keep wildlife in the wild where it belongs.
For Charlie, there's still some work to do. When he's ready, he'll be released into the wider 50 square miles on the reserve, where he'll be able to meet the other elephants and go back to being wild. We'll keep you updated on Charlie's story, but now, from elephants to mice. Check out this little mouse village that's been going viral online. Wildlife photographer Simon Dell spotted a mouse living in his garden, and he decided to build the mouse a house so he could shelter from local cats. Simon has now built a whole village for all the mice in his garden, including lots more homes, shops, and a school. Now, did you know that it's actually part of the national curriculum in England that primary schools have to teach us how to swim confidently for at least 25 metres? But we found out that 1 in every 4 children leaving primary school can't swim 25 metres, and this could rise to 3 in 5 children by September 2025. Lots of schools struggle with the cost of taking classes to local pools, but we heard of a unique way that some schools are getting us swimming. Check this out.
This is our playground.
I like to play football.
I love playing tag.
I love swimming.
Yep, you heard right. We go swimming right in this playground. Want to take a look?
Around the country, temporary swimming pools like this one have been popping up in school playgrounds. They only take a few days to put up and they bring swimming to you.
For the last time, this has been our swimming pool.
That's it. Straight arms. There's a swimming pool in our playground because it gives people a chance to learn to swim and learn new skills.
So here on the water, turn my head, take a breath in, and then blow my bubbles back out.
We get 45 minutes every day for the whole of the half term.
It's really interesting because it shows you new skills on how to save your life when you're endangering sig.
Having the lessons have made it easier to swim with my front, back and other.
I couldn't really swim under the water properly, but now I've been doing it, I can do it better because I can also hold my breath longer.
Before I started, I didn't have very much confidence. I felt nervous and anxious, but now I feel happy and proud to not feel that anymore.
Legs out, arms out. Face the water, and all you do is blow your bubbles.
Yeah, so we teach them multiple skills. So let's start off with your course main swimming strokes, that's front crawl, back crawl, breaststroke and butterfly. And then also we do a lot of safety skills as well, so teaching them how to survive in water.
Having a pool in our playground is awesome and I'll probably remember it forever.
Thanks guys. So, what did you make of the online claims that singer Taylor Swift lost millions of followers and had to cancel tour dates because she revealed she was voting for Kamala Harris in the upcoming US election? Well, it's fake news. The post started on websites and social media profiles that joke about politics. However, the posts were seen and shared thousands of times and were not clearly labelled as false, so many believe them to be true. But Taylor Swift didn't lose millions of followers on her social media, and her world tour remains sold out. For more tips on how to spot fake news online, we've got some great explainers on our website. Just head to first.news/FYI, and we'll see you next week for more top news. Bye!